Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day? Where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards. Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with the family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, all law-abiding citizens are equal, but congressmen are more equal than others, with David and Gretchen taking a look at a growing congressional sentiment to grant concealed carry reciprocity for lawmakers, not you and I. Meanwhile, SCOTUS turns its back on Peruta versus California, letting concealed carry may issue stand. Then, yet another look at fake news and a smoking gun. And what's California's answer to dealing with red states? Issuing a red state travel ban, of course. And finally, the EPA is set to undo Obama's federal power grab and accept that citizens have the right to own their own property. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
Without question, this year's most disingenuous statement by a lawmaker goes to the Republican congressman from Georgia, Barry Loudermilk. Loudermilk has proposed that concealed carry reciprocity for members of Congress should be considered as part of possible security upgrades. The proposed upgrades come on the tails of the shooting of House Majority Whip Louisiana Republican Steve Scalise. Scalise was specifically targeted by a fanatical anti-Trump Democrat while practicing with fellow Republicans for a congressional charity baseball game. Attempting to justify why congressmen should get special consideration over John Q. Public, Loudermilk said, and I quote, "We aren't any more special than anyone else, but we're targets. Ding, 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 give that man a cigar." Well, isn't there a bill that proposes to do just that, but, for all law-abiding citizens? Oh, yeah, it's House Bill 38. The Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act of 2017 would accomplish the same purpose without excluding the law-abiding public. That bill, sometimes referred to as freedom to carry, exempts lawful gun owners with concealed carry permits, with some conditions, against gun bans that start at state borders. Constitutional carry is also included in that bill. What particularly makes Loudermilk a bum is one of the reasons we elected Republicans was to implement such a bill, and it has wallowed in committee since day one. Well, that shouldn't come as a major surprise, considering despite having control of the White House, the House of Representatives, the Senate, and pretty much the Supreme Court, the only Republican doing anything is the president, and I'm not sure we exactly use the title Republican, which really means none of them are doing anything. Regardless, as far as our congressional contingent is concerned, issues such as constitutional carry and national reciprocity are controversial. They need time to build coalitions, to, study the facts, to come to reasonable conclusions, not do anything irrational. Well, until one of their own gets shot for political reasons, and suddenly the heavens part and personal protection becomes a front burner item, but not for John Q., of course. Rather for politicians who are targets. Well, here's a little surprise, Barry. We're all freaking political targets these days, whether it be from ISIS or from the radical liberal left. Wait, is there even a distinction between those two anymore? Oh yeah, I remember. The radical liberal left has become more dangerous to our society than ISIS. Now, to be fair, Comrade Loudermilk didn't initially come up with the proposed Congressmen are disingenuous two-faced cowards bill. Catchy name, don't you think? That distinction belongs to another Republican, Mo Brooks of Alabama, who during an interview with Jesse Waters on Fox News cited as his reason for proposing the bill as, and I quote, "I wouldn't have to worry about what the laws are," unquote. Representative Chris Collins, a Republican from New York, didn't appear to be too worried about reciprocity or gun control laws. During a radio interview when he was in Buffalo recently, Collins said that he plans to carry a handgun at public events. Quote, "If you look at the vulnerability, I can assure you from this day forward, I have a concealed carry permit and I will be carrying when I'm out and about," unquote. Meanwhile, back at Circus Maximus, the Republicans are running over one another to find some justification for passing it into law that won't result in them becoming targets of their own constituents as well as Democrats. So far, no luck. John Q. ain't having any of it. Democrats, for their part, are pushing for more gun control for two very specific reasons. First, it's a hell of a lot easier to shoot Republicans if they're not armed. Second, nobody is shooting at the Democrats, as they're the only ones who are shooting. Well, except in the Chicago ghettos, where Democrats only go when there are ample television cameras and half a dozen local homeboy bodies on the ground. Come to think of it, that may be the only place where Democrats are being shot at. House Bill 38 would exempt elected federal officials from all those nasty gun control bills in Washington, D.C., and for that matter, scattered all over the United States. The ones that have helped get John Q. killed for about 80 years now, which, of course, is precisely what Mo, Barry, and the other stooges hope to avoid. The fate of House Bill 38 is far from certain, but the time may be right to replace antiquated gun control laws. The Pew Research Center, a nonpartisan think tank, just released a report titled America's Complex Relationship with Guns, what I call the Pew report. When people were asked whether it was more important to protect gun rights or control gun ownership, 51% favored gun control and 47% favored gun rights. But that's a good thing because when the same question was asked in 2000, 2/3 of those surveyed said they supported gun control measures. So we're making progress. Now, if we could just find a way to replace the Democrats. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
Sounds like a similar accusation that was leveled against the Will County people, but we weren't trying to have rights that nobody else had. We wanted that for everybody in the building.
Well, you didn't. There wasn't a bill on the table for.
No, it's more of a rule.
Right.
It's not.
It's not a
bill.
They've had this reciprocity bill for a long time now, since the first day, but
January.
Yeah, since
probably.
January roughly, or whenever.
Yeah.
And it has gone nowhere until one of their guys gets shot.
Right.
All of a sudden, personal protection becomes a really important thing. Mm-hmm. The humor of this is the Democrats don't see this. They're pushed for more gun control. Now, that could be because they're not worried about getting shot at, could it?
Well, they probably should. I mean, as we've said before, we're the ones with all the guns.
That's true.
For the most part.
We're busy at work.
Well, that's true. We are. We don't have time to go gallivanting off to Washington, D.C. to try to kill people.
Pick out targets. That guy, I forget his name. Oh, do you remember his name? Whatever it was, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Why even mention his name? He's puke. But had a list of Republicans. I mean, it was actually hunting them.
Mo Brooks was on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
right.
in some sense, I get it.
I don't disagree that they should be able to carry, but
We should all be able to carry.
right, that's the point. The point,
Right.
the point is that they're looking at using their legislative power to grant themselves something that they've had a bill sitting on their desk for months.
Sure.
Yeah,
And
that's my problem.
And Alan Corwin points out that that violates the 14th Amendment, which is equal treatment under the law. So, you know, and he says that some similar discriminatory laws have been overturned in the past. So even if they pass it, it probably wouldn't stand up to any kind of scrutiny.
Yeah. Interestingly, when Waters asked what's his name about
Mo Brooks.
Mel Brooks, he said, "What do you basically, you know, the anti-gunner activists and stuff, Democratic legislators? What would you say to them when they say it would be too dangerous to let legislators be armed since they might commit crimes or shoot people without cause?" And Brooks replied, "That's a ludicrous and inconsequential argument," which
Which is true.
which is what Republicans have said all along. But I think it's funny that, you know, your fellow guy who sits next to you and, well, they don't sit next to you, they're on the other side of the aisle, but you know what I'm saying. All of a sudden you look at him and you go, oh, he could be a murderer if he had a gun.
Right.
Which is like the old joke about the cop is testifying in court and he was talking about trust. And the prosecutor says, well, do you, I'm sorry, the defendant's attorney says, well, so you don't trust people? And he goes, of course I do. Law enforcement people trust people. And he goes, do you have a locker in your locker room? And he goes, yeah. And he says, do you put a lock on the locker? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, why do you do that? And he goes, oh, because occasionally lawyers wander through. So, you know, it's, yeah. Congress is a strange bedfellow. You look at how they've worked with some of these people who are now in the cabinet who were senators or congressmen, and they all got along just fine until they get into Trump's cabinet, or they're heading up a department for
Now
Trump.
they're the enemy.
And now they're the enemy, right? They can't be trusted. Maybe we'll wait till we come back on this because we're under a minute now. But SCOTUS, I want to talk a little bit about SCOTUS because
they've been busy.
Yeah, well, actually, they haven't been in this case, but we'll.
But I mean, they've come out with a lot of stuff this week.
Yeah.
Of we'll hear this case, we won't hear that case.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this when we come back. But I don't know. The Republicans would be hard pressed to push for this exemption because there'll be a whole lot of us who are going to be really unhappy. Notwithstanding, when we return, we'll cover what SCOTUS has recently done. All that and more when we return with
On Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and My Editor Creative Business Services can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's My Editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So SCOTUS, they have been turning out a lot of stuff, yeses and noses, and this is a noses. They have turned their back on. It's a dynamic and living language, Fritz.
According to you.
This is the problem with editors.
Says you.
You know that this is the problem with editors. I view English as
malleable.
Yes, that's true. That is. It is. You can sort of shape it.
No, you view it as malleable.
Now, let me.
You say that all the time.
Let me say something about this, because I think this is we're having a disagreement on the air, and we should clarify this.
Okay.
We should sort this out.
Yes.
I suggest that English is a living language, and you suggest I'm full of whatever.
You know what?
Yeah. You ready? Mm-hmm. Where does the word, I don't know, taco come from?
Mexico.
It's not English.
No.
Where does any modern scientific term at all, take your pick, Wi-Fi, where does that come from? That wasn't English. It was made up.
I don't know if you can call those types of things English, though. Like any kind of technology, it's in its own world.
Listen to her.
It's in its
justify.
own
Listen to
category.
this. She's trying to protect her. It's not really a word. What about I don't know. Come on, Eric, help me out here.
You can get me to.
It's a living language.
You could embarrass me, is what I was trying to say.
Tell me how. I'm willing.
There are many words.
Of course, of many languages. Japanese sushi. That's not an American word.
No, it's not. But no one pretends that it is. It's Japanese food.
Well, I'm not pretending that anything that I say is. It's all Japanese food.
No, but you want to say things. Oh, what was you made something into a verb the other day, and I was like, that's a noun. You can't make that into a verb. And you're like, it's a living language. I'm like, no.
Sure you can. What do you mean? I'm going to Xerox something. I'm Xerox.
See, I don't say that. I say copy.
See? The worst part about losing control of your own show is when you do it yourself.
Yeah,
that's
I was going to say, you're the one that took us down there.
That's really the problem. SCOTUS, let's get back.
Yes.
We'll go
back on topic.
Back on topic, yeah. Peruta versus California came up, and Peruta is a guy who applied for concealed carry in California, and in California it's May issue.
Yeah.
And his sheriff said, "Nah, you didn't show good enough reason."
Right, and for people who don't know, not only is California May issue, but it's processed. It's on a county by county basis because
correct.
It's processed. Right, it's processed by the county sheriff, not by the state itself. So. California is a total crapshoot. That's what I was just going to say.
It is. That's not English either. It comes from the French "crapé."
No, actually, it is English.
Actually, I think it's German, to be honest with you. But anyway.
Well, it's two words, crap and shoot. We know shooting. We know that.
It's Chinese. So anyway, the point is this. You are right. And if you really think about that, May issue on a county-by-county level, you only need one person to not like you, and that's the sheriff, for whatever reason.
Right.
You are dating his ex-wife, and it ticks him off. That's it. You don't get concealed carry.
Or they also, because it's May issue, so there's like kind of a cross-section of issues here. Because it's May issue, you have to have a good reason.
Right.
To get
what he thinks is a good reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's was a good reason in one county is not necessarily a good reason in the other county.
Exactly.
So you buy a new house and you just lost your concealed carry.
And I didn't think about that. It's true. You could move across the street and end up in a different county, and that's it.
Right. I mean, if you move across county lines, you could, when you're up for renewal, tough luck.
Justice Clarence Thomas was not happy with this. But what I don't understand is what happened to Gorsuch?
He joined in with Thomas on his dissent.
Okay. All right.
So I think Thomas wrote the dissenting opinion, And Gorsuch just said what he said.
I buy that.
Yeah.
That's
He's
good.
like, I'm with him.
Yeah. Put my name on that list.
Exactly.
Now, because they wouldn't hear Peruta, it doesn't mean there are a lot of cases floating out
Yeah,
there on
well,
this subject.
Right.
So-
And that's what the lawyer said. His name is like McCall or something. And
Yeah.
he said, that's okay. We got some other stuff coming down the pipe.
And one of the things that I've learned is that if SCOTUS, for instance, but even the appeals court or whatever, if they don't hear a case, sometimes it's because they know there's something better coming up.
Yeah.
So it's not always because they don't agree with it or whatever.
Or they don't think
Sometimes
it has
it's
merit.
a tactic. Yeah, there's a
Right.
tactic involved.
Well, it makes sense of we don't want to rule on this weak case when we know there's a stronger one coming up that's going to make it very clear.
Right.
You know, that's going to
Exactly.
make the issue very, very clear. So I was not familiar with that, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense. And so there's another case coming up called Flanagan versus Becerra, which is also California. And so California law prohibits open carry in populous areas. So any type of city, they're not going to allow open carry.
But you
then-
can in certain parts of California.
Right. It sounds like out in
Yeah.
the country. I mean, there's a lot of natural areas in California, so you know you probably can out there. And there's a couple of guys who were not able to get concealed carry in Los Angeles County. I think Los Angeles County is probably the ones who are basically saying no to everybody. And so they brought a lawsuit that says if you say, and their lawyer says, if you say there's no concealed carry right, then there is even either a right to open carry or there is no right. And you can't have no right because that is anti-Second Amendment.
Right.
So so it could be that they're holding out to hear this other one because this one sounds really good. And they both sound good to me, but yeah, it's possible.
It all goes back to it's in the Bill of Rights. Why are we doing this to begin with? But you know, that's an argument that we've had forever.
Right. Right. There's actually a note on the bottom of this. This is from the Washington Times. There's the last sentence here is good too. The Supreme Court also declined to take up Binder Up versus Sessions, which is a case that found individuals convicted of certain nonviolent misdemeanor crimes do not lose their right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of is only making that felons. Only felons are not allowed to.
Are barred.
Yeah.
But they want to let them vote. Yeah, so
Well,
that makes
just
sense.
that one guy, just Terry McAuliffe.
Yeah, that's sure. Anyway, give us a call if you got a thought about that. 815-205-1584. We do have somebody on the line, but I don't know why he's on the line, so I guess we're going to find out. Hi, you there?
Greetings, my fellow travelers. I called in about your when you talked about the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act
Yeah.
earlier.
Yep.
Before I do, I wanted to let you know since the last time I called in, there's now 154 House co-sponsors.
Call
for the
me when
Hearing
they got them
Protection
all. Call me when they got
Okay.
what they need.
Well, then they don't need all; they just need a majority.
No, I mean
So that
when they
leads
get
into
what
this-
they need. Yeah. But what was your comment about
Well,
concealed
the
carry?
Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act now has 200 House co-sponsors.
Oh,
and
you're
37
talking about the actual bill, not because what the congressman wanted to do is not a bill. They're just saying.
No, that's not. Well, I'm going to hold on. Let me get to that. The actual real bill has 200 co-sponsors in the House. 3 of them actually are Democrats, which means 18 more. It's a done deal in the House. Okay.
But they've
That's
got
majority.
most of the Republicans.
Well, we got 3 Democrats, and they're not. I mean, one of them's from Minnesota, and the other one, well, of course, Texas is one. And it's going to happen. I'm in the House anyway. There's 37 in the Senate, which means 13 or 14 more will be a done deal. Okay. Now, these 2 bills for the congressman to carry, concealed carry, only has 7 and 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's kind of redundant. Those 2 are not going to go anywhere. Where the action's going to happen is on this main one, conceal, which is, by the way, the 4th most viewed bill on the Congress.gov website.
You know what? That doesn't
Third
surprise me because
is-
it's ticking off a lot of Republicans.
Right, and the 3rd most viewed is the Hearing Protection Act. So I'm not confident that's going to pass this year, but I'm confident that concealed carry is going to pass before this Congress expires in November 8th of next year.
Well, it'll be
and
very
one more
interesting.
thing before I let you go. A federal judge in San Diego 2 days ago struck down California's ban on magazines
Right.
over
That's right.
10 rounds.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
And that that
you
may
know,
very well go up.
Fred,
That may very well go up.
I've been in the stock and commodities trading business my whole adult life, and there's one truism that you must always remember: the trend is your friend. The
Yeah.
highlight of gun control grabbers was in 1994 with that stupid assault weapons.
The assault
that was
weapon
their high
ban.
watermark.
Yeah.
Yes, the assault weapons ban. When George W. Bush administration refused to
Renew it.
whatever, in 2004, that was the beginning of the end of this draconian, insane gun control movement in this country. And stuff like that doesn't happen overnight, okay? It takes a long time because this is a paradigm shift.
Well, I quoted the Pew research that specifically said that while there's still a marginally small amount of Americans who prefer gun control, the number of people who prefer gun rights has soared in the past, 10 years, something like that.
There's 15 million CCW holders in this country at the last count. 15 million.
Yeah.
Now, out of a number of 325, okay, but how many of those are under age of 18? The trend is our friend. So don't get discouraged. We just have to dot our I's and cross our T's, and we will prevail. We are going to prevail. And just don't get down in the dumps. So that's all I had to say.
All right, well, have a good one. Have a good 4th of July. All right. We can move on.
Yeah.
News. Fake news. This is like, recurring, it's like a canker sore. But now we have people on the inside who are going, we have a problem.
Well, there's a couple of things. There's a whistleblower, but this is from 2013.
Yeah.
And I never heard about this back in 2013, but she should be like our new favorite person. And then also Harvard did a study.
Yep.
So the whistleblower is this woman named Amber Lyon. Apparently she won an Emmy for her reporting, but she blew the whistle on CNN that they wanted her to bend and even outright fabricate news, and that she was ordered to report fake stories, delete unfriendly stories adverse to the Obama administration, and construct stories in a certain way, obviously to support the narrative. That's always their favorite catchphrase.
This John Bonifield, who works for CNN, who's a producer for CNN, didn't realize he was being recorded. These guys with Project Veritas, I'm surprised that nobody's whacked them. I really am. I don't even know how they get away with this stuff.
Yeah.
But again, Project Veritas was on the scene. They wormed their way into the CNN nest, and unbeknownst to Bonifield, they engaged him in conversation, not knowing that he was being recorded. And he literally came out, he said, and I don't like to use bad language on our show, but this is a direct quote from Bonifield. He said they were talking specifically about the Russian thing, right? And he said, could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. He goes, we don't have any giant proof. All right, we're going to have to take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about this when we come back. And we can say the bullshit word again, too.
Yay! Bullshit.
Well, that's it. We're done. Okay, we'll be back with that more bullshit after these few messages with more on Target Radio.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
So back to the fake news thing. Harvard released a study about a week ago. They analyzed the New York Times. Now, mind you, just listen to who we're talking about. We're talking about supposedly the pillars of journalistic community. The New York Times has a style book for
all
crying out loud.
right, and all the mainstream outlets.
These are the
basically.
people we've trusted for years, right? So they analyzed the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, which really blows me away. The Wall Street Journal.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Washington Post and the main newscasts of CBS, CNN, Fox, and NBC during the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. The Harvard team found that CBS coverage was 91% negative and 9% positive. New York Times was 87% negative, 17 positive.
That must be a typo. It must be 13 positive.
Yeah, you're right. That's right.
That doesn't add up.
Yep. Well, if they're doing it, it could very well. The Wall Street Journal, which surprised me, a little better, but 70% negative, 30 positive.
That really surprised me because Wall Street Journal, hello, Trump,
Exactly.
business leader.
Exactly.
Hello.
They've made a lot of money off of this guy.
Right.
And then Fox, even Fox, 52% negative and 48% positive. And then you get to CNN, 93% negative reporting in the first 100 days.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you say about that. That's just so totally out of control.
Yeah, put another way, there was a 20-hour period in which 13 hours and 27 minutes, 92% was devoted to bashing the Trump presidency, and a little more than 3 minutes per hour was devoted to all other news.
And there was some big news in that time period.
Well, I mean, any day,
Right.
more than 3 minutes out of an hour should be devoted to general news and not just the president.
And, the whole Russian thing. So this goes over to the CNN, Bonifield. Quoting, he says, our ratings are incredible right now. My boss, I shouldn't say this. Right there, right there you think, you're right. You really
probably should self-edit at this point.
Exactly right. He says, my boss, I shouldn't say this, my boss yesterday, we were having a discussion about this dental shoot, the dentist thing, and he goes, and he was just like, I want you to know what we were up against here. And he goes, just to give you some context, President Trump pulled out of the climate accords, and for a day and a half we covered the climate accords, and the CEO of CNN said in our internal meeting, he said, good job everybody covering the climate accords, but we're done. Let's get back to Russia. What?
That's awesome.
This is the fourth estate.
And I'm glad you said Russia, because that puts me back to this other article where this guy says, former head of the Department of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, stated under oath that he found no evidence that the Russians were successful at changing voter tallies or voter totals. He also said under oath that he never saw any evidence that Trump or any member of Trump's campaign colluded, conspired, or coordinated with the Russians.
And this is a guy, this is Jay
Johnson.
Jay Johnson, who was appointed by Obama.
And I'm not done. Former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, stated that there was no evidence of political collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. And it seems like there was a third one. And then obviously Comey admitted that they had nothing.
So obviously
they had no evidence.
So obviously you have to report it.
So obviously we better keep hitting it.
It's just, it's just a clear attempt to overthrow government. There's no. They're just doing everything they can. Yeah. Did you see this thing about they're talking about? They want to have them evaluated by psychiatrists, and it's going to take X number of votes and stuff. And then it goes. But of course, Pence has to be on board. I don't see that happening.
That's not going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah.
That is not going to happen. Well, and, I mean, so many other people are like, okay, you can't do what Trump has done up to his, up to January or even November of last year in his life. You can't be that successful and be mentally incompetent. Those two things just don't go together.
His entire career has been successful. And they go, well, the company went bankrupt. Okay. So what? That's legal.
Yeah.
He's
working within the confines of the law.
One of the richest men in the country. You don't get that way by chance.
Right. Exactly.
And all the negotiating he does, I'm telling you, reading his book is an interesting thing. I read The Art of the Deal. And there are people who say, well, he's not really Republican. I don't really give a rat's butt. I honestly don't care.
I don't know. He seems pretty damn Republican to me.
There's some things that he are not really conservative, but he's doing something.
And I also won't say that, maybe his positions as stated before he was a presidential candidate were maybe not entirely consistent with his positions as stated after he was a candidate for president. But again, based on his actions, and I'm a firm believer in actions speak louder than words, based on his actions, he is conservative.
He has... remember, we joked about it the first 100 days. There was run out of ink for his pens. I mean, he just went every day. And every single one of them, I'm like,
he's keeping like Bic and Papermate and Pilot. He's keeping them all in business.
I don't think the POTUS uses a Bic. I just...
you don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think they do.
You don't know.
I think Waterman is... and they give
They can't do... I was going to say, they can't be Waterman, because he's like signing one thing, and then he gives the pen away, and then he signs another thing, and he gives the pen away.
The President of the United States, for crying out loud. Here, have this pen. It's signed this
Not unless he's buying his own Waterman pens to give away.
No, we are buying his Waterman pens. That's
what I'm saying. Is those are not... those are not Waterman pens.
We should find out.
We should.
You should Google it. Who's the pen supplier?
Who's got the contract for pens?
Yeah. Because there is one.
Okay, fine.
These are
Googling.
These are highly prized.
We're getting messages though. I should do my job here and.
Well, I think research on this very important issue. What
our friend Larry says, people also forget that he may have bankrupted 5 or 6 companies, but he owns over 500 companies. So the statistics are.
Well, and that's true.
Absolutely true.
That's true. And it's also true that bankruptcy, it is the law. Bankruptcy is an option for companies that are going down the toilet.
Well, that's what I say. I mean, he's operating within the confines of the law. There's nothing wrong with that.
And he actually said that on the trail. Somebody said, well, you've been bankrupt. And he goes, excuse me, if you don't like that, change the law. But right now, it's perfectly legal. That's how you deal with some situations.
Well, and
he's never been bankrupt.
And again, you may not like that, just like, if he says, he's pro-choice or whatever, I may not like that, but okay. So Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I'm still going to do the same thing I did before.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I don't care what he calls
And there's Donald Trump with 6 bankruptcies and Hillary Clinton with, we were broke when we left the White House.
And we took the China.
And so we stole the China. So we stole the China to make up for the fact that we were broke. Still voting for Trump.
those people, I swear. And here is one of your favorite words in the title of this article. Associated Press at the center of the latest journalistic kerfuffle over fake news.
It's not as good as gobsmacked, but I do like a good kerfuffle.
That's true. A good kerfuffle. If it's brown if it's browned and everything, it tastes pretty good. They make these stories up. They get caught, and nobody seems to care. It's like they just... That's not true. Here's the proof. Oh, okay. Well, here's another story.
Although they did have to...
retract.
Yeah, they did have to make a public correction.
Oh, wow. That's terrible. How many people, in the process of doing that, read an article, that's in their head, right? Mm-hmm. They may do a retraction. You don't even see the retraction.
Right.
So it's still in your head. right?
True.
It's like in court when lawyers get desperate, they will say something that they know is going to be stricken. They know it's going
Sure.
to be.
But it's out there.
It's out there. It never comes out
It
of the
went
juror's
in.
mind.
It
That's
doesn't come out.
You got that right. That's
yeah.
exactly
no, it's
right.
true. It's true. I mean, people like Ed, tell us things like that all the time.
It's
And another good illustration of that is Sarah Palin. How many people think that Sarah Palin actually said, "I can see Russia from my house"?
I know.
Okay, not everybody. 93%
That's
of
just a
Americans
fake-
think
that's
she actually said that. Well, of course she didn't say that.
bull. It's what's her name said it
Right.
on Saturday Night
Tina
Live.
Fey.
Right, Tina Fey said it. Who
But everybody
Looks a lot
who
like
is right, practically a dead ringer. Okay, fine, but still.
Yeah, no, and of course the press would do nothing to dispel that myth.
Right. They haven't.
Yeah.
Right. They haven't lifted a finger to try to correct that.
And here's the interesting thing: liberals go ad hominem very quickly. I mean, they can't come up with substance.
No.
So they immediately go on the attack of the person. What's her name from Minnesota? Michelle Bachmann, who has religious beliefs that
She's
not
a
everybody.
lovely, lovely person.
Yeah, but she has some beliefs that a lot of people don't believe in. So what? I remember, this is before you were born. I remember very clearly when John F. Kennedy was running for the presidency, and people openly said, "You can't be president because your allegiance is to the Pope."
Oh, okay, because he's Catholic.
Yeah, they made a big thing out of that. They asked, I remember, and I was, maybe 8th grade, 9th grade, something like that. And I remember them grilling. Well, they were not grilling like you think of it today, but I remember him being questioned. And he says, "You're a Catholic." "Yeah, I'm a Catholic." He goes, "Is the Pope not your leader?" "Yeah." He goes, "How can you be president?" And that's what people,
Right.
today, they've gone way over the top.
Oh, way beyond
Totally over the top. They just pick on people for any little thing that they can find.
that. Oh my gosh.
I don't care that Donald Trump was divorced. I could care less.
Yeah.
What I care about, don't run out of ink. Okay? That's all I really want.
Oh, I forgot about my Google.
Your goggle. You got to goggle and find out who has the pen contract.
You talk, I Google.
Exactly. And we're about out of time for this segment, so we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about it, because this pro-life group claims Twitter's been suppressing its message. I had a problem with Facebook, and so that's another whole area. These people control information, so we're going to talk about controlling information when we come back with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So David wanted me to Google who supplies the White House with pens. So we figured out it's Cross. They're Cross pens. And the Detroit News back in February wrote, it didn't take long for President Donald Trump to start running out of the custom-made Cross pens he uses to sign executive orders. I think we're going to need some more pens, by the way, he said on Inauguration Day.
I love it. All right.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
From the Illinois State Rifle Association, the good news is that SB 1657, the gun dealer licensing bill, was not passed by the Illinois House of Representatives. The bad news is that it was not defeated either. Shortly before 8 p.m. on Wednesday, May 31st, the Illinois House of Representatives adjourned to the call of the chair. That means regular session is continued. Deadlines for bills have been extended until June 30th. Deadlines in the legislature can be extended again and again. That means SB 1657 is still alive and can be voted on any time the legislature is in session. This will likely be one of the summers in which the Illinois legislature will be repeatedly called back into session. That also means that the anti-gun side has time to work on getting votes. The ISRA will continue working through the summer to prevent this bill and other anti-gun bills, like SB 556, from passing. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, July 8th and 9th. Illinois Concealed Carry 1. When seconds count, the police are only minutes away. That's why you should get Illinois Concealed Carry. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. I just want to throw in one thing here. That woman in Chicago clearly did not take her concealed carry class from Safer USA. That's all I'm going to say. Sunday, July 9th, long-range rifle taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
You know, we don't have anybody for this Saturday's class. Next Saturday. Well, what's today? Sunday. Next week, we don't have anybody. We're going to have to give people some kind of deal.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
We should name it after her.
No.
Name the deal after her.
Oh, that's possible. Yeah, we could do that. Loser.
Yeah, the crazy lady in Old Town or whatever it was that shot at her own vehicle.
Yeah, well, at least she picked the right car. Sometimes we get toward the end of the show and we're like skating. We don't know, there's some good stuff that we haven't gotten to. We talked a little bit about...
To be continued.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, to be continued. We talked
That's
about...
okay. Let's work for next week.
Pro-life, then it's old news. We talked about the pro-life group that says Twitter won't let them get their message out, but they certainly will for Planned Parenthood.
Live action, yeah.
Yeah, they certainly do that. They don't have a problem with that stuff. I've had that very problem with concealed carry and Facebook. They after years of running ads, they just said, no, we won't run it. It's a gun ad. And then they keep sending me stuff. You should run ads. You should run ads. I don't know which to go to because I want to get there's some really interesting stuff. California, you know, just saying California makes me kind of get a little, you know, in the back of my throat. It's kind of like a fur ball. Yeah, like a little fur ball. California has come with a brilliant plan on how to deal with the red states. Have you seen this? Did you read this thing?
No.
Yeah, California is imposing a travel ban to all red states. Well, actually not all. It's a travel ban to Alabama, Kentucky, South Dakota, Texas, well, there's a surprise, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kansas, and North Carolina. And why? What was the big problem? Tennessee is unacceptable because therapists who work with parents don't have to counsel same-sex couples on how to have a better marriage. So they're going to boycott the entire state of Tennessee for that. Texas, they had a problem.
I thought you were going to say it's because Tennessee has the highest rate of concealed carry in the country.
And that may be true, too. Texas allowed adoption agencies to work with parents, but not same-sex parents without penalty. The bottom line is this. These people give no thought to what they're doing. So if you work for the state of California, or if California in some way pays your travel bills, they will not pay if you go to these places. Well, guess what that does to, like, athletics?
Right.
They won't pay for their teams to go to the states for competition.
Right.
How exactly is that going to work?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
These people are nuts.
I don't know how stringent it is, though. Like, if you're UCLA...
California.
But the state of California is not paying that directly. The money goes to UCLA, and UCLA pays the travel bill.
UCLA is a state university, like the University of Illinois.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, the comptroller of California is not cutting that check. So who is going to, make sure that UCLA is not getting money to go to these states?
I would assume it's a statewide. I don't know if it must be a law. I would guess it's a law. I don't know. But it's a statewide thing, so they're saying anybody that's an agent of the state of California,
No, it just says the Attorney General announced that.
Okay.
So it's more...
Javier Becerra.
It sounds like policy. It's just a policy.
They would no longer fund travel to states deemed discriminatory towards LGBT people. I don't know. California. And they wonder why everything is outrageously expensive in California. You have to be a quadrillionaire to live in that state. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is...
It's like Vermont. If you want to go there, that's fine, but bring your own money.
Vermont. They will ban travel to states, U.S. states, but not to places like Sudan, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen.
Right.
Okay. That worked out real well.
This article says, it would be safe to assume that those countries are not in line with the LGBT agenda.
You think? They cut their heads off. Okay. Actually, they throw them off the roofs of buildings.
Right, that too. Yeah. They stone them to death.
Yeah.
And they throw them off buildings. Yeah.
There's two other things that we have here that I think really are worth it. I find it very interesting that everybody now who is in a position to know factually says Trump's not under investigation. It's pretty clear. Everyone has said this now. Trump is not under FBI investigation.
It's like they're lining up to go, he's not under investigation.
But guess who is?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders is under investigation for bank fraud. Now, here's the guy who is for the working man, blue collar guy, right? We have a lot of money. We have to take care of him.
Right.
Bank fraud. The man is under investigation. Him and his wife, in fact, for bank fraud. She obtained loans when she was president of some college anyway.
Burlington College.
Burlington College, which right off the bat you got to go, where? Burlington College. It's not like it's, what was the price? How much was the loan?
Well, it's Vermont. I mean, that's probably, Burlington is the capital of Vermont, isn't it? So it's probably one of the biggest colleges there.
Okay. Have you ever heard of it?
I'm assuming.
No.
No.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't say so.
We're not talking, University of Illinois or Alabama or, University of Texas. We're talking about Burlington College. You know what? There's probably somebody from Burlington College who graduated is listening to us, and there'll be a sniper out our front door now.
No, just call in and tell us that we're totally wrong.
Yeah, that's good. That's better.
Don't shoot us.
Yeah, reach out and touch us with a phone.
Yes.
But they got like a $10 million loan or something. That's okay. That's fine. But they've screwed up. They're under investigation for it. And I just find that very ironic because have you heard about that anywhere in the press at all?
No.
Apparently not.
Although I did see a headline of something about Bernie Sanders lately. It probably was this, but I don't care enough about Bernie Sanders to actually click on the link.
Who pays attention? Yeah, who pays attention to Bernie Sanders?
He's kind of an also-ran at this point, so.
I'm not sure he's that high up the list.
Well, I guess he's the definition of an also-ran.
Well, that's true. He was number 3 out of 3. So
I guess
that's true.
He's like textbook also-ran.
That's true.
I don't know. Is he number 3 or is he number 4? I would say Ted Cruz is number 3.
Well, Trump.
Yeah, I guess Bernie Sanders probably.
I think
number 3.
Trump. I think he pretty much put the rest of them back in the dust.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ted Cruz hung on for a long time.
He
but
did.
Yeah,
he was the one that did
Trump.
hold on.
Trump won pretty handily.
Yeah, it was. Whereas there actually was a reasonable run between Bernie Sanders and Hillary if they hadn't have cheated.
Well, I was going to say, especially if they had played fair, which
exactly
is complete anathema to them. I mean,
yeah, that's not going.
They don't even know how to do that.
Yeah. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall when they got Bernie Sanders into their camp. I would like to know what they gave.
What did they have to promise?
Either they've said, we won't kill you, okay? Or, because if Hillary goes, I'll put you on my friend list. Whoa, that's a list I don't want to be on.
No thanks.
Yeah. I'd rather be on the enemy list because they go to jail. The friend list don't go anywhere. But,
right.
Yeah.
They commit suicide.
Yeah, they commit suicide. Hi, I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I'm so happy. I've always wanted to go here. Yeah. Apparently that works out in those circles. But EPA, that's the other thing that I wanted to get to. We got just enough time to really not do it justice. But the EP, Obama, this power-hungry guy, literally tried to put forth through the EPA federal control over anything that's water, including if you have like a farm and you have a depression and it collects water and dries up for the other 11 months.
Right.
They wanted to control
unlike
that.
ditches.
Exactly.
They wanted to be able to regulate ditches.
Not that I want to talk about it because we have to be careful, but, Aurora has the lead issue at Sugar Grove, and they claim that creek, Bliss Creek, is navigable waterway.
No.
I want to see like a destroyer go up the Bliss Creek. You can walk across Bliss Creek, navigable waterway, federal land, federal water.
Right.
So the EPA has announced that it is going to put an end to that. They're going to back off on a lot of that regulation.
Yeah, I heard about this a while ago. That actually one of the first things that Trump did, and if you're not like way into this stuff, you wouldn't have known about this. But one of the first things that Trump did when he became president was he told the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers, go back to the drawing board on the WOTUS, the waters of the United States, which it's just a rule. It's an EPA rule. It's not a law. It's just a regulation. And so the county people, National Association of Counties, was very interested in WOTUS, and we were really, really happy that he did that. That he, because Obama had one that they came out with in like 2015, and it hadn't been enacted yet. And he told them, go back to the drawing board, and we were like, thank you. So anyway.
You're like, what? Never mind.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's it. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen tonight, and we appreciate if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, My Editor Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And finally, we hope that you'll listen next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.